Greetings from the Centre for Christian Spirituality, and welcome to our reflection on the Gospel of next Sunday. I'd just like to invite you to listen as I read the text. I am the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. The hired hand, who is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away, and the wolf snatches them and scatters them. The hired hand runs away because a hired hand does not care for the sheep. I am the Good Shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock, one shepherd. For this reason, the Father loves me, because I lay down my life in order to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it up again. I have received this command from my Father. In the previous chapter, chapter 9 of St. John, the author is speaking about leadership, and he carries that over into the image of the Good Shepherd, where he contrasts the Good Shepherd, and the word good there is really sort of capturing the model idea, the model shepherd, as opposed to the hired hands. And the hired hands have no commitment, but the Good Shepherd has a great commitment and is willing to lay down his life for his sheep. That's mentioned twice. And of course, later on in the Gospel, Jesus will say that no greater love has anybody than to lay down their life for their friends. I think there are two aspects of this relationship of Jesus to the sheep, to the disciples. Firstly, the willingness to lay down his life, and secondly, that deep knowledge that exists between them. Jesus knows the sheep, and the sheep know him. And that's put within the context of the Father and Jesus. Jesus knows the Father, and the Father knows Jesus. And later in the Gospel, just in the next chapter, we're going to find the language, do you not believe that the Father is in me and I am in the Father? And then he goes on to say that I am in the Father and you in me and I in you. In other words, there is a bond there that's going to be developed, and it'll be developed over the next few Sundays that we're going to talk about. So the Good Shepherd theme is about the leadership of Jesus, and it points to what Jesus is willing to do, but it also carries implications of what the sheep should be willing to do. In the final section of the Gospel, Jesus talks about laying down his life and picking it up and saying he's got the freedom to do both of those things. And that freedom is really the freedom to respond to the Father who has given Jesus the command. And the Father loves Jesus, not because he does those things, but in a sense it was the love of the Father. The Father so loved the world and sent his Son that these things are an expression. The laying down of the life of Jesus is an expression of the Father's love. So those were the themes that came to me as I was reflecting on it.
I'm so very glad, David, that you've given me an insight into this. For me, the strong image that comes through is it's I think actually a very maternal view of love, where my own know me and I know my own. And this is a little bit strange, but you can be in a room with babies crying all around the room, but when your baby cries, you know the sound, you know yours, and yours know you. And it, to me, although it's about a shepherd and sheep, which is kind of not very intimate, for me, what really strikes us is this beautiful intimacy of knowing each other, and knowing each other to the point that, as you say, it suggests that they know me and I know them, but they know my voice and they listen to the voice and they follow the sheep. So I think this is this image is a very beautiful, but also a very grounded image of God's love, of all the things that he could have chosen. He chooses these very tactile human
Yes.
relationship. So in the midst of this, I lay down my life and then I can raise it up. Clearly this
Yes.
shepherd is not a normal shepherd.
No.
He's a good one, but he's extraordinary. But the imagery he uses is one, I think, that is very maternal.
Yes, and I think intimacy is a good word to capture the point that's being made.
Yeah. And I think that idea of relationship is something that goes through for the next couple of Sundays. But one of the things that fascinated me is Jesus uses that expression or describes himself here, I am the good shepherd. But before that, there are a number of others, aren't there, of I am. And each one of those are about the things that he can give us, it seems to me. But this is the one where he identifies something about himself, about who he is.
Yes.
So it leads us into the beginning, perhaps, of a deeper and richer understanding of who this God is, who has been, this Word made flesh, this Jesus. So it's something that just got me thinking about relationship in the light of who God or in Jesus is saying he is for us.
You mentioned the I am sayings in the Gospel. There's 8 of them, I think. But they also often have an adjective. I am the good shepherd. I am the true vine. So that there's a real message there. It's here is the genuine article, as it were. Yeah. Very well. We invite you now to read through the text or look at the text and draw out the things that are meaningful for you in the text. Welcome back, and now we invite you to listen to the text again in the light of what we have said and what you have discovered yourself.
I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. The hired hand, who is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away, and the wolf snatches them and scatters them. The hired hand runs away because the hired hand does not care for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that do not belong to the fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock, one shepherd. For this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life in order to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have power to lay down, and I have power to take it up again. I have received this command from my Father.
The thought that came to me that I would do, I think, or I would like to do in the week, is to put myself in the role of the Good Shepherd. That while at the moment I don't have a formal group that I'm responsible for, I think there's a sense in which we are all good shepherds, noble shepherds who are willing to serve the people around us. And giving one's life means usually dying, but giving one's life also can mean a life of service and care for other people. Mm-hmm. So I thought I might take that image of the Good Shepherd and reflect on my own life in the light of that sort of understanding.
What struck me was the potential danger that there are wolves, that there are people who can influence our loved ones, our Christian brothers and sisters, and actually lead them astray. So the thing for me is to concentrate on those people who are trying to find a Christian way to live their life and to help support them, to be there, to make sure that the sound of the wolf, the sound of the one who can draw them away, it doesn't happen.
This reminded me of a recent publication about Pope Francis, and it was titled Francis Among the Wolves. And I thought a fascinating title because it was picking up both Francis as Pope and Francis as Saint Francis of Assisi and the connection when living among the wolves and the power that they have for enabling unity or creating dissension. So it occurred to me that, picking up a little bit like you, David, that if from baptism that I'm part of my identity is to in some way be a witness to this risen Lord in my own life, then an aspect of that is how do I kind of reflect the nature of the Good Shepherd. And so to take some time to think how I might do that, how that might enter into my relationship with others.
We invite you now just to look at the text in terms of something that you could draw from it, that you could apply in your life. That the purpose of reading the Scriptures is ultimately to transform our lives so that we live like Jesus. So what can you do in the light of the text that we are considering? Having selected something to do, one now has to do it. And we often know that there's a bit of a breakdown between things we decide to do and things that we sometimes don't do. And for that reason, we need the help of the Lord. In the Gospels coming up, the Lord's going to say, without me you can do nothing. So let us spend a moment in prayer, asking God for the courage and the support that we need to implement what we have decided to do. Thank you for being with us. I hope that our reflections and what we have challenged you to draw from the Gospel will be meaningful to you in this coming week. We conclude now in our usual way by reading the prayer from the Liturgy of the fourth Sunday of Easter.
Almighty of the living God, lead us to a share in the joys of heaven, so that the humble flock may reach where the brave shepherd has gone before, through Christ our Lord.